amidst all of the news that has come out for Stadia, that has those that are not familiar with the community confused if the platform has any long-term aspirations. We still see the Stadia community running strong as far as the support for the platform. C is wow. Stadia community support remains strong in 2021, and see why. Let's get into it. SDO Daily, baby. Here we go.
Stay sick cause I follow my gut. They say I was pushing my luck. I'ma push me a matte all black truck. Oh, I'm not sorry.
What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? It is your boy MM2K on behalf of the Stadia Dosage platform, here with the SDO Daily. Do me a huge favor before we get into this one. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, rock those bells for notifications, please, so you know when your boy's dropping these doses. I appreciate all of y'all straight up. Y'all know the deal, y'all know the reason, and y'all know the slogan. I'm not too proud to ask. Let's get into it. All right, let's talk about it, y'all. So, as promised, we today are not dropping a video with really with too much new news. This is stuff that we've already covered, but what we want to do is we want to connect the dots to try to explain to those on the periphery that may not understand why the Stadia support from the community is so strong, despite a lot of the mainstream entities talking about focusing on a lot of negative stuff in regards to the platform. Now, you may find some things in my talking to people, though, a lot of the stuff that we've already covered, surprisingly, and I mean that sarcastically, but surprisingly has not made saturation mainstream wise. Because if it did, then it would change a lot of people's perspective about the platform. They would be like, oh, I didn't know that. Kotaku or IGN just focused on this and they completely ignored that, MM2K. But it's customary and we're used to it. So what we're doing is we're going over stuff that we've already rehashed in regards to definitive statements that we've seen from the company in 2021 that lends hope to the community still and why the support is so strong. And I'm going to touch a little bit, I'm going to do a little bit different thing that I haven't done in a while. I'm going to touch upon my personal experience with the platform for those that may not understand why I fit into the category of those that strongly support Stadia and am very hopeful of it going into 2021 and beyond. All right. But with this said, I just want to, again, recalibrate everyone's thinking in regards to some of the news that they have seen. When you look at Stadia's positive news, because we've been saturated with so much negative stuff, right? Stuff about how former employees were addressed, stuff about Stadia supposedly being afraid of what Microsoft is doing, so they're quote unquote giving up. Stuff about class action lawsuits and all this stuff that for some reason when it's tethered to Stadia, it gets exemplified tenfold. Where it happens anywhere else, it's nothing. It's just a Tuesday, right? But despite all that negative news, we're going to focus on positive here. And there were three major things that happened so far this year that I think solidify why the community support is so big. And in order for us to show you what those things are, we're going to show you some headlines. So you know how we do. Let me show you something. First and foremost, what you see on the screen is an interview that occurred the very same day that the SG&E first-party efforts of Stadia was closed down. While that was closed down, this interview occurred with a Stadia spokesperson. Her name is Catherine Hasayo. I hope I didn't butcher that. And they actually talk in this subject matter, as you can see right here in the byline. It says interview with Stadia's Catherine Hasayo on the state share and the future of the platform. Product manager Catherine Hasayo opens up on Google's roadmap for gaming. So we had people ask for a roadmap, which you don't get a roadmap beyond 2021 or a detailed one for most of these platforms. They tell you what's going on a month at a time, right? They may give you some target dates later on in the year for big initiatives, but the day-to-day BAU, business as usual, you don't get no detailed roadmap that really shakes the world. But for some reason with Stadia, this is what you need, right? This is what you need, okay. But again, if people do their research, this article came out over 2 weeks ago. You can see up here in the upper right-hand corner, 2/1/2021, the day that the SG&E closures occurred. But everybody ignored it. Why? Because you find what you want to find. Simply put, you find what you want to find. If you want a negative condensation with something, you're going to find the negative news. If you want positive condensation with something, you're going to find positive news. If you're looking to come down the middle to advocate for gamers and truly put everything out on the table for people to make their own decisions, you're going to come across everything because you look at everything from 5,000 feet. So, and the reason why this is so integral is besides this interview occurring the same day of the SG&E closures, they're asking different things about different initiatives and different things that happen on Stadia, like state share and crowd play and things like that, different features rather. And the interviewer asked, is there a reason the team prioritized state share over other features? And Hasayo talks about it, talks about the features. And what she says here is very poignant. Again, the same day as the SG&E closures occur. She says, we're excited to see how developers in 2021 and beyond continue to adapt. And this interview was chock full of future talking concepts from Stadia. Not a whole bunch of stuff, but it's riddled all through the full interview. They're talking 2021 and beyond, right? Those people didn't see it because they weren't looking for it. I don't know how I keep coming across this stuff, right? I swear to you, Google has no contact with me. I swear to you. I just look. I find this stuff and I just find it ironic that nobody else finds it, right? And so then the next thing that you guys and gals may be more familiar with is the fact that Google said that they're going to commit 100 more games to Stadia in 2021, and they give you a drop of 9. So that again tells you that the platform isn't dead because the first party efforts are a wash for the moment. It just means for a lot of us that they're reshuffling their allocation of assets to do bigger and better things, right? And what are those bigger and better things? Well, many can argue that it's things like this. Outriders will get same-day release on Stadia's pre-orders open. Now, Stadia normally said that this was coming later, and I had to reshuffle my thinking on this because I pinned this to being similar to Cyberpunk. No, with Cyberpunk, they've always said the same year. They never used the description later. Outriders, they said later, right? So that meant that it was going to be day and date elsewhere except for Stadia, and then the Stadia version would come later. Well, many are arguing, and you're hearing from many valid sources, that reallocation of funds is already hitting for a positive note for the community. And what they did is they approached the makers of Outriders, People May Fly, in an effort to get this to be day and date. And hence why we possibly don't see Outriders demo on Stadia, because there wasn't enough time to assure that. But now they can make assurances with the extra help because of the reallocation of funds, supposedly and reportingly, that now they can do that, and that's what people want. People want a continuation of what we saw with Cyberpunk. Our favorite multi-platform games, day and date, and arguably the best way to play them. You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot to digest and a lot to take in. But again, it's indicative of us to find out this information. Look for it from 5,000 feet and not just go to the bully pulpit. Now, some of you may say, okay, well, all right, MM2K, well, you make your argument and you make it in a very solid fashion, but you still haven't explained to us why we should care or why this fits our test case. Well, we dropped a video earlier this week where a lot of you may be the perfect test case for Stadia and you don't even realize it. We responded to our friend Rich of Review Tech USA and demonstrated on how he made the best case for Stadia so far in 2021 better than anybody could have, including myself. But he's a denier of the platform. How does that work? Go watch that video and check it out. But I will give you some information about what I'm looking for from Stadia and how I came aboard this platform. I started with Stadia, well, not so much with Stadia, but with cloud gaming, and was starting with GFN like 2018. I was part of the beta, and I was kind of interested. My interest was peaked with cloud gaming since then. I started with GFN, and a year later, I went on and tried Shadow PC. And then Project Stream, I think, came out around the same time. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wasn't too impressed with Project Stream when it came out. I was like, it's okay. But I had better experiences, honestly, with Shadow PC and GFN. And then I tried xCloud, and I wasn't impressed with xCloud or the Steam version of the cloud thing they were trying to do out of network, right? But then, well, and to show you that that's not cap, let me show you something. This is a tweet that I sent way back in November 15, 2019, before I got my hands on the retail Stadia. I ranked my experiences with the cloud platforms in this order. NDA Platform 1, which at the time I wasn't sure if I could talk about it, but that was GFN, Geforce Now. NDA Platform 2, which is Shadow PC. Then I said Google Stadia based off of Project Stream, which again, like I said, at the time, GFN and Shadow were better for me. PlayStation 4 Remote Play, the in-house, the in-network version of Remote Play is extremely good. I'm shocked. I was shocked about it. Project xCloud and Steam Link close out the list, right? Okay. So, with that said, I then finally got my hands on Stadia, and my mind was completely changed. Because the retail version of Stadia was the fidelity and everything was so much better and was so improved off of the 24,000 hours that they got from Project Stream and player usage. They, the team, the engineers there for Stadia are fantastic. So what I've enjoyed most from the retail version of Stadia is getting great performance for streaming without the hassle. Like, you guys know I used to stream on Twitch. A lot of you may know I used to stream on Twitch regularly. And with a powerful PC with a 2070 card in there, I had so many issues because of codecs and bobecs and all this other stuff. And there were weeks to where y'all would sit there and see me trying to stream, just trying to get 60 frames per second or 50 frames per second because of all of the complications there is with dedicated devices. And then also the fantastic portability and convenience when you sit in one spot, when the time to sit in one spot rather is limited. Like if you got to be on the go, like for instance, when me and my wife had to go food shopping and I really wanted to practice Madden before I played my game, I still got my behind whooped, but I wanted to practice, I could do it in the car on 4G with Stadia, the actual Madden game. You can't do that nowhere else, right? And what I'm hopeful for in the future, because of what I've seen so far, is that we get to see Stadia become my one and only hub for multi-platform gaming. We get to see more services like Ubisoft Plus on here, right? Maybe EA Play or whatever. Maybe if Square wants to create a service, kind of like what Amazon is proposing. We get to see something like that on Stadia here with multiple subscriptions to offer, to bulk up the choices here. I want to see the implementation of ray tracing, more consistent 4K to 8K, 60 plus frames per second. Some people refer to that as Gen 2.0, but however they implement, I want to see that. And most importantly, I want to see all the top-notch multiplats release on Stadia day and date with all the other platforms. If they can nail down those three things, then it is ready to be on the stage for PlayStation, with PlayStation and Xbox, but not yet. Notable mentions are crossplay, and more of the features that the spokesperson, Ms. Catherine Hasayo, spoke of in that interview And also a revisit of Project Chimera. That is the initiative where you can take 10 gamers and they can put in assets into a database or protocol, whatever you want to call it, and that protocol will design a game for you, hit points, monsters, everything. At the scale of a World of Warcraft. That's something I was really interested in, and I'm hoping what happens is Stadia, if they get a support system set up to where this platform is subsidized properly, because it's now becoming more and more popular, they'll revisit that and they'll just sit with second party development to get that done, right? What I'm not looking for though is the platform to rush all this stuff to be on that same stage with Xbox and PlayStation. A measured, steady, and financially sustainable pace that brings all these great offerings to fruition is ideal. So that's why I love Stadia, and that's why the community loves Stadia. Again, don't forget that there was all this positive news going into 2021 already. We're in February, for crying out loud. You heard Stadia give like a mini roadmap well before people were asking for it. They just weren't looking for it. They didn't do their job. I'm just going to call it as simple as it is. They weren't doing their job, their job in discovering that interview. Also, you have the fact that they spoke about 100 games. And then you also have the fact that the reshuffling of assets from the SG&E closure is already coming to fruition, as many may argue, because of what we saw with Outriders. Really, maybe the most anticipated game so far in 2021. That's a big deal. So with all that said, I want to just remind folks that despite all this negativity and this negative outlook, and people are entitled to feel the way that they want to feel. But if you're happy to hear about Stadia and you want to log in on that, you can come here to Stadia Dosage. We are your hub for reasonable discussions, kicking in the tire of the maturing of the platform. But again, we are so enthused about this platform as you are. And lastly, don't let anyone take your joy. Enjoy your Stadia. And with that said, that's it from your boy MM2K. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Because like I always say, I'm curious what I think. But if you did like what I had to say, check out the links below to follow me. Those links will lead you to the Broadband Bullies, PNTS Network, Hard Knock Digital Culture, and yes, the Stadia Dosage. With that said, you all get into some gaming. Check out Stadia Dosage streams. We're going to be playing some games. You all have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.